What's going on, friends? Welcome back to another New World video. Today I wanted to talk about the newly announced PvP servers, which are going to be arriving in New World Aeternum in Season 7. For those of you who are not super up to date on New World, we're currently in Season 6 right now, which is set to end in 30 days at time of recording. Most likely somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks when you guys watch this video. We've had a little bit of information about how this is going to work, but effectively going into 2025, the devs, Amazon Game Studios, are going to be doing these seasonal worlds. So every 3 months, which is typically how long a season lasts, there's going to be a new fresh start server, but it's going to have a special set of rules, and they say these rules are going to make the gameplay very differently from how it normally would be played. And the first set of rules that they're going with is this PvP always on concept. So we have a new special fresh start server where PvP will always be on from level 15 onwards. Now, we still don't have tons of information about this server. I'm waiting for like a dedicated post on it and a dev video, but I wanted to let you guys know what we know so far so you can make a decision as to whether it's something you think you might want to jump into or come back to New World for, because I know a bunch of people watch these videos just basically for New World updates. They don't even play the game anymore, but they're just curious what's going on. So yeah, on the 21st of January, which is when Season 7, the Season of the Conquerors, on the 21st of January, that's when it begins, and they're going to have this PvP-focused fresh start server. So it's a server I believe you will not be able to transfer into, but at the end of the season, you will be able to transfer their characters to a permanent world of their choice. So you'll be able to move out of the server, but not in. PvP starts from level 15, so you will have the first few levels of peace. I've got to imagine Everfall and Windsward, you know, the settlements and the fast travel shrines are probably safe from it. To my understanding, I think you will still be able to play in factions. I think it's still going to be Syndicate versus Covenant versus Marauder, because we have seen a little bit of footage. They have this video, which I'll link in the description down below. In the first sort of 7 minutes or so, they talk about the PvP server. Let me just play a little bit of footage in the background here. I did see they were like fighting each other. Yeah, we can see a little bit of footage here of them, assume what I'm playing on the PvP server, and we've got some Marauders here versus some Syndicates. So I guess you can still be in a party. I guess, you know, the sort of standard rules apply. But what we do know is they have said that there's going to be the special power armor that you can craft that is done through pretty basic materials. You'll make it with like iron and wood. So there's going to be an emphasis on crafting, and you'll be able to make these increasingly more powerful sets of armor, with the ultimate set being made with a special PvP resource that's only available on this server, and the armor is really, really, really powerful. They say it's going to be more powerful than artifacts, and again, for those of you who have not been playing the game for a really long time, artifacts were introduced with the Rise of the Angry Earth, and some of them do pretty cool stuff, so this one just increases my armor by 20%. Another popular PvP artifact is the Tumbler Feet Wraps, which give you like a bunch of healing and stuff. So whenever you dodge an attack, you get to empower, you get to fortify, you get to heal. Imagine if every single piece of gear was as powerful as the Tumbler Feet Wraps, and that's your full set, but you craft it for your character. But the catch is, if you die to another player in PvP, you'll drop that armor and they can take it off of you. So it's a risk versus reward. It's very powerful armor. But the materials that go into crafting it, those can drop on death, and the armor itself can also drop on death as well. So yeah, you can go about it two ways. You can try and just gank somebody with the power armor, but it might be pretty difficult if you don't have it yourself. Or you can just put some time in to craft a set and then sell it to the other players. I assume that would work, so there is going to be a bit of a crafters economy. It's a weird blend of like crafters and PvPers, because I always considered crafting to be a bit more chill and casual, and then PvP to be a bit more hardcore. So the fact that they're marrying those two together, we'll have to see how that goes. They have also said that the special PvP armor can break upon death as well. It's going to have durability, so you will need to be crafting new sets. Outside of this information, we don't really know too much more about the PvP server. Obviously, they've said that you can unlock the skin as a transmog, so if you just want to play on it to get the skins, maybe there's going to be some sort of account-based reward for it as well. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce to you guys this concept that they're going with, the seasonal world. So every 3 months there is going to be a brand new season with a pretty wacky rule set. And yeah, the first one is PvP always on. I think there is far more than what we're seeing here. Like, they are going to be adding more and giving us more information. I have some questions like, will we be able to play Outpost Rush? And if so, is it going to be with players from other servers? Are we going to get cross-server queuing? Because if you have cross-server queuing and you've got the mega power armor on, isn't that going to be like wildly unbalanced? So we'll have to see how it goes. There is a concern from a lot of players that I talk to that this is a bad idea, because for those of you not aware right now, New World's player numbers are sadly in a bit of a decline. This happens almost every time. We get a big update, whether it was the Brimstone Sands or the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion or New World Aeternum on the console. Player numbers go up, and then player numbers go down. People get bored, especially moving into the sort of Christmas season. And then player numbers come back for the next update, which, fingers crossed, you know, it's going to be Season 7 rather than what we had in 2024, where we had to wait a really, really long time for New World Aeternum. We had to wait all the way through to October. The good news is, if you're not interested in the PvP server, there is a few other pieces of content with Season 7 as well. So they do finally have a new Outpost Rush map called the Coral Divide. Now, sadly, it's just a preview, so we're only going to get to preview the map, and only for one weekend, maybe a couple weekends. They say a central trench divides the battlefield and houses NPCs. You need to build bridges to create new pathways, opening up strategic opportunities for your team. So yeah, imagining a big trench in the middle that you're going to need to build a bridge over the top of it. That sounds pretty cool. Sadly though, like I say, it's only going to be a preview, so we probably won't get the actual map until Season 8, which I guess is February, March, April. But nonetheless, finally, a new Outpost Rush map. We've been waiting 3 years for this. For those of you not interested in PvP at all, because I recognize like Outpost Rush is PvP, and obviously the PvP server is PvP, they are going to be making some changes to M3, and I'll just clarify what M3 is in case you guys aren't familiar with the lingo. When you go to activities, you go to mutated dungeons. You have the option to do the mutated dungeons in difficulty 1, M1, difficulty 2, M2, or difficulty 3, M3. The problem with M3 is you can't queue up, so you can queue up with players from other servers. You can use the role queue and find players for M1 and M2. With M3, you have to make your own lobby, so you got to join, and usually there'll be like pretty strict rules. You need to link certain gear, you need to show them your passport, you need to pass a urine test and stuff like that if you want to join. It's very restrictive. Now you'll be able to just hit a button and join. This is going to create quite a few problems where M3 is very challenging. It is genuinely quite difficult content, I think, for players, and doing it with just randoms who might not have the correct gems or the correct amulet, it could be a bit chaotic, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. I'll definitely be trying some random M3s myself. But I do expect it to be a bit chaotic. One of the things that they're going to do to make it a bit easier is right now when you have the mutated dungeon system, you have like 3 different mutations. So this one's void, and then this one over here is nature, and then this one over here is ice. So you need different gems and amulets for each one if you want to like be super efficient. Whereas going forward, it'll just be all of them a void. So you'll have the eternal, the indomitable, and the fiendish mutations, and that will be the same here as well. So it'll be eternal, indomitable, the other one that I said. It's going to be the same mutations for all 3 dungeons, and that'll change every week. So that's going to make it a bit easier in terms of which gems and what amulet and how you want to sort of gear up for each particular mutation cycle. In order to make the M3 more appealing, because why would you do it if the loot isn't very good? That's another problem with M3 right now, is it can only give you up to 700 gear score, whereas you can go do Hive of Gorgons or Outpost Rush. Yeah, Outpost Rush gives you up to 700. You can do the Sandworm raid. It doesn't give you 725, which is currently the highest gear score you can get. M3 only up to 700, but they have said that they're upgrading the rewards so you can collect better loot than you ever have before. It was implied that you'll be able to get crafting materials, which will allow you to make 725 gear score armor, weapons, and jewelry. So whether this is just going to be another form of the coconut and the inductor, right now, once a week from the PvP zone, you can get a coconut. You can also get the Gorgonite inductor from the raid, and then you use this as like part of an upgrade system. So it doesn't give you the gear directly. You have to use it as almost like a token. Perhaps there'll be another token that you get from M3. So I don't know if it's going to be dropping you the gear exactly, or if it's just going to be dropping you a token that you then change into the gear. Remains to be seen. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see, and a little bit apprehensive as well, with M3 and how that's going to work with cross-server and the difficulty in players getting over that. They also included a bunch of weird bug fixes, like very specific bug fixes, fixed targeting issues for the Void Destroyer and Tempest Heart. Oh, thank God, that was really killing the game for me. I don't know who was complaining about that, but they fixed it. One of the things that is pretty exciting about Season 7 is we obviously have a bunch of new artifacts coming into the game. And again, to bring you guys up to speed, we kind of already talked about it, but artifacts are special legendary items that you can only have one of. So of your 2 weapon slots, only one of them can be an artifact. There is currently only 1 artifact Ice Gauntlet in the game. There's currently only 1 artifact Earring in the game. But that is going to be changing a little bit in Season 7. We do have a new artifact Ice Gauntlet. It is called Otzi, and there is a new artifact Earring as well called Justice. Now, spoilers, I think quite a few of these artifacts are a bit meh. They don't sound too exciting. For example, the Ice Gauntlet, when you break out of Entomb, which is the Ice Block ability, you'll slow enemies and you'll deal damage to them. Unless it's a really big slow and really big damage, it just doesn't sound that good, to be honest. I don't know why you would run that over the current Ice Gauntlet, which just allows you to do more damage when they're slowed. I mean, the current artifact Ice Gauntlet Deep Freeze is pretty good, you know? Frozen enemies, which is most of your Ice Gauntlet abilities, makes the enemy take more damage, so the reason why you would run this, it would have to be very powerful. I am pretty excited for the Artifact Lifestaff because I think the current Artifact Lifestaff is just a bit poop. Vengeance is a very aggressive Lifestaff. When you heal people, you get an Empower. It doesn't really help you with healing. This one is in a roundabout way because it will give your teammates damage absorption. So I think Light's Touch, by the way, I believe I've seen an earlier version of this Lifestaff, and what it's supposed to reference is that when you remove a debuff with Mending Touch, it's supposed to like apply Fortify basically. I think that's, but it does say that Lifestaff ability here, so give 30% damage absorption with Light's Touch after casting a Lifestaff ability. So you cast an ability and then you hit them with Light Touch, whatever that is. Maybe it's Mending Touch, maybe it's Blissful Touch, that could possibly be it as well. So use an ability, use a light attack, and then you give them 30% damage absorption, so a 30% fortify, a 30% damage reduction, not too bad. And getting the crazy healing from Essence Rupture, I think this ability is pretty underrated on the Void Gauntlet, especially in PvE. So healing 100% more health and dealing 50% more damage sounds pretty nuts. One thing that's kind of strange about these artifacts is when you read through where you got them from, it says you earn by defeating the War Machine Captain in Ashen Barracks. We've checked this on various databases. We've checked it on the map. There is nowhere in New World right now called the Ashen Barracks. If you were to scour the whole map or look it up on New World database, on New World Buddy, there is nowhere called the Ashen Barracks. There is no enemy called the War Machine Captain. And this is repeated throughout this post here. There is no enemy called Dorgort. There is no Volcanic Lair. There is no Alchemist Trials in the Forbidden Lab. So they're referencing a bunch of things that don't currently exist in the game. Now, does this mean that they're going to be adding a new area to the map? Probably not. I think that would be very wishful, but perhaps this is going to be new, like, changes to the zone, so they might be adding a few new areas to Reekwater, for example. We might be getting a few new Soul Trials. Again, for those of you not familiar, Soul Trials is this new concept where you can go in and do a soul, like a solo dungeon boss. Right now, the rewards are pretty crap, but there is one artifact that you can get from it, so maybe they're going to be adding more artifacts into the loot table. But yeah, I'll leave a link to this in the description down below if you want to read through it, but taking a look through pretty much everything, I haven't seen anywhere called the Icewood Caverns, I haven't seen anywhere called the Scorched Dunes, so there's a bunch of new areas that they reference that don't exist, which is kind of exciting. I sadly don't think it means we're getting a new zone or lots of new content, because I think they would like say, you know, they would hype that up. They would let us know. I don't see the benefit in keeping that secret. Outside of that, there really isn't much else in Season 7, I'm afraid, friends. We're going to be getting some events coming back. They're going to be scaling them up to 700 gear score. There's a new season pass, of course, which you can buy, and then they talk about some bug fixes. There is going to be a new buildable wall, so there's going to be deployable walls that you can buy from the armory in Outpost Rush. That could be kind of interesting. I imagine there's going to be some bugs and exploits that people can use to jump on top of those and then jump into the fort, so we'll have to see how they get around that. There's also going to be regen potions and cleansing elixirs. They say they improved skill-based matchmaking Outpost Rush to be based on your personal ranking instead of just wins and losses. I wasn't even aware there was any skill-based matchmaking right now, so the fact that they improve it, I feel like it added it into the game. Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's much matchmaking in Outpost Rush at all, so interesting to see them use that language. But nonetheless, that is a look at the patch notes, if you can call them that, for Season 7. What do you guys think about the PvP Always On server? Are you guys excited for it? Are you going to be playing on January 21st? How do you feel about M3 being cross-server and the new Outpost Rush map? Let me know what you guys are thinking about New World and what we've seen so far. This is probably going to be a 90-day season, so this is kind of what we got for the next 3 months after Christmas. This is the next thing to look forward to. Personally, I'm going to play on the PvP server. I think it's probably going to be really toxic and die after a few weeks. I'd love to be wrong. M3 with cross-server, Again, I'm just really not sure how that's going to go down. You won't be able to gatekeep it, I guess, because you won't like know who's going to join, so there is that. But I can imagine it getting pretty toxic where people, they zone into the M3, they don't see the weapons that they like, and they immediately like, you know, press F4 to surrender or whatever it is. Yeah, I think player toxicity could definitely get in the way of a lot of this upcoming content in Season 7, so we'll have to see if Amazon have anything planned to counteract that toxicity. But with that being said, I've rambled long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you go ahead and leave a like button, subscribe for more, and happy holidays if you're watching around that time. See you guys all in the next video.